Hello, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am so grateful to be here one other Sunday evening to speak with you guys. This week, I'm going to be doing question and answer this evening. I had some questions that were forwarded to me, and I will be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I am so grateful. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for joining in tonight. God bless you. I am so excited about tonight and different questions. Throughout the process of talking through the different chapters in my book, How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a Good Wife, it has been a privilege and a joy to be able to discuss the chapters with you all. I have been grateful and so thankful for the comments and positive feedback that I've gotten from it. So thank you guys so much. I am very, very appreciative of that. And also, I've been getting comments in reference to my newest release, Daughter Thunder, The Calm After the Storm. This is my memoir, and once again, as I tell you all before, I have been very transparent. I was very transparent when I wrote this book. So thank you so much for your support. Both books are available on all digital outlets. I do have some copies here. If you would like to have a personal signed copy, just inbox me and let me know, and I can get them sent out to you. All right, thank you so much. God bless you all. Again, tonight I'm excited about the questions that I received. Hi, Helen. Good evening. Thank you for joining tonight. The questions that I have received for the question and answer session tonight. Any comments out there? If you all have any comments that you would like or any questions that you would like me to answer, just please put them up and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability as well. All right, once again, thank you so much. And I'm also going to get some assistance tonight. I'm going to get some help. I have someone that's going to be my official question reader. Hi, Liz. Thank you for joining tonight. God bless you. God bless you. That's going to assist me tonight with the questions that I received. And so, also, if you are watching tonight, please share, hit like, and also for those of you that are watching me from my YouTube channel, please go to April S. Young, hit like, share, and subscribe, and click on the bell for notifications as well. Okay, thank you so much. Um, Again, you all have been such a blessing to me, and I really am thankful for that. All right, so, all right, let's see. I think it's a matter of 6 or 7 questions I have, I think. I'm going to be going over tonight once again. So, anyway, thank you all for that. God bless you. God bless you. I believe my assistant has arrived tonight, Mr. Michael Young. And also, if you have received my book, please go and do some reviews for me on Amazon and Barnes& and Noble. If you've read the book, I would greatly appreciate that. Reviews are so important. So again, thank you for joining me tonight, Mr. Young. How are you this evening?
I'm blessed.
You blessed?
Yes. And highly favored.
And highly favored. All right. So I just explained to everyone that I have some questions that I have been presented with. I'm going to try to answer them to the best of my ability. However, I did explain that you're going to be, hello, good evening. How are you tonight? Thank you for joining in. Um, that you're going to be the one that's going to ask the questions, and I'm going to try to answer them. And if you feel like there's something from a man's perspective, feel free to share. Okay? All right, thank you. Okay, so what is the first question we have up here? Hi, Joey, how are you? Thank you for joining
tonight. The first question is, do you believe premarital counseling is necessary?
Absolutely, I do. I think that's very important, especially for young couples. I do believe, especially getting married for the first time. Because in the marriage counseling sessions, you'll find that there's some things about your future spouse that you may not know. They may come up in there. They may discuss things such as finances. Where do you stand with that? They may talk about a question may be asked, do you want to have children? You might want to have one child, and your spouse may be looking to have half a dozen. I mean, you just want to be able to get those things out and discuss it. Hi, Tanya. Thank you for joining tonight. You want to be able to get those things out. So I think it's very important that you have marriage counseling, premarital counseling.
Yes. And I noticed you said for young couples, but it's also some old cats out there that need to be counseled too. So you can't make it about the age because there's some old cats that's out there 15 years old.
Yes, and I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
There have been some couples who, say for instance, for myself and for my husband, we were married one time before, and our experiences may not have been great. So going in, we may have some preconceptions or some pre-notion that okay, I'm going to this marriage and this time I'm not going to accept it. Hi Karen, how you doing? Let me see. Dewey says,
Yeah,
hello, tell my classmates
yeah, I
what's
was
up.
gonna tell him, what's up, boss?
And so, I may go in thinking, you know what, there's certain things I'm just not going to put up with. And then he's like, well, that's not being fair to him because of my past experience. So, yeah, if you're seasoned and may have been married before, yes, I still believe that you should have premarital counseling. I think that's very important.
It's very important because you learn a lot through it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And also, make sure that the counseling you receive is from a great counselor.
Yes.
Because can't be auntie such and such and uncle what's his name.
Gotta be careful of that.
Yeah, leads you down the wrong path.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's also vital too that you get premarital counseling. It helps.
It does help. It's very important. And you discover some things about one another that, through your dating or courtship that you really didn't realize or were not aware of that come out in the premarital counseling. That's important.
Right. Did you receive premarital counseling before you married me?
Did I receive premarital counseling?
Yeah, I know that's not on the paper, but I want to know. Did you get counseling?
Or Karen or Donald Duck. That's right, Karen. That's right. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Not really. Because I guess because of the circumstances that we were in, you lived away, and then you were also overseas for quite a bit, so we didn't really get that. So when you got back, it's like you got married right after you got back from Iraq. So we really didn't. But we did have someone to speak into our life.
Right.
That was there.
Right.
Pastor that was a pastor at the time. So no, we didn't get marital counseling per se, but we did have someone that was there to speak into our life. So no, but it is important. Now, are you trying to say that we probably should have had marital counseling? What are you saying?
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think it depends on the people at the same time.
But
it's also great to have premarital counseling, but it depends on the people and where their maturity level is. Okay. That's how I view it.
Okay. And I put emphasis on the young people. Karen said, "Be careful, Mike."
You noticed that, right?
I specifically said young people because when you're young and when you're in love, you think that your love is perfect and y'all gonna live together forever for a lifetime. He's your Prince Charming, you're his Cinderella, and it doesn't happen like that. Then when you get married and say I do, you realize there's some things that could have been talked out prior to marriage.
Yes.
And been able to help you, as far as communication and things of that sort. And then the finances come in. There are plenty of marriages that have had arguments over finances because you may have someone that, once again, I spoke before a few weeks ago, that may not be great in handling finances. You be able to think of, hi, Demetrius, how are you? All the way from Louisville, Mississippi. Good to see you. So thank you so much for joining in, everyone, tuning in. And once again, please hit like and share this video. And also those of you that are viewing through YouTube, please hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. All right, thank you. And so, there are times when, we think that we might be doing the right thing. Love is forever, and it's not. So it's important to be able to go ahead and try to seek some counsel. In some cases it'll save you in the long run.
Yes.
Okay. What's the next question?
Next question. How do you know when you have met the right one?
Hmm.
Hmm.
You said it like you got something to say.
I'm never getting my wife.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you, Demetrius. Thank you so much.
Hey, Auntie.
Let me see. You will know. I always tell women, don't go out looking for your husband or mate. You have to have somebody just for the sake of having somebody in your life. You will know it, and he will know it as well. When you two can communicate well, when you know what your values are, and both have respect for one another. If you're meeting someone and he lacks respect for you, or respect for your family, or anything like that, then you may say, okay, this may not be the person for me, and vice versa. You want somebody that you are able to communicate with and communicate with well, and the respect level has to be there, and there has to be some value in one another as well. But you'll know it. I mean, you will know. How did you know? As a matter of fact, let me ask you that. How did you know?
Hey, but that's the conversation for off camera, not on camera.
What?
You catching me off guard.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Deborah.
How
Thank you
did
for
I know?
joining.
Well, it's just like I said. In a situation like that, when you meet someone, you know what you are looking for. You know the things that you do not want, and it pretty much sets a foundation. You know, you set standards basically, and I had standards when I met you, and you met them standards, and in my heart of hearts, I knew because you was everything I had prayed for. I put you on a list, just like you put me on a list.
Well,
we was under the same sky, same star, and I was blessed when you answered my phone call. After it took about 5 months.
Well, praise ye the Lord.
Yes.
It's important, and I knew for me because what was important for me, like I said to you a few minutes ago, we both were in a marriage previously, and so I knew what I didn't want. If because I knew the Lord was going to bless me with a husband, but I knew what I didn't want, and so the thing about it was I knew that you were for me in the sense of your values for family. Yes. You were very respectful. You had standards, you had goals set for yourself. And then when we had conversation, it was like we had known each other for years.
Right.
And we had known each other for years. Hi,
What's
Johnny.
up, Johnny?
How you doing? Thank you for joining.
JT.
Oh, hello, Michelle. How you doing? Thank you for joining tonight. And so it was not it was not a thing where I had to ponder a long time, and big question mark came about trust, and then we were able to trust one another
from the start.
From the start. And so that's kind of unique in the situation because you have to learn how to trust someone. I mean, the trust comes and it's earned. Trust is earned. But that's how I knew for me, because you respected my wishes in reference to me wanting to wait, and I thought that was so important. And God told me that the one that understood that was the one for me. And then I created that list, and you met everything that was on that list. So that's how I knew. So you will know, and then that man will. Did it say it was a male? How did she ask? A man?
No, she just said the right one.
Okay, so it could be either
or.
Be either or. Okay, but so the thing about it is, you will know. You both will know, and it won't take a long time to figure out whether or not you're going to be, you want to be married or not.
Right.
You'll know that.
The next question is there a God husband book coming out? If so, when?
We can ask that question a lot, don't we?
A lot. I'll leave that answer up to you.
Well, this is a God
I'm gonna stay in my lane. I know that. I know what they said. But that's the problem in itself. Is all anytime you follow what they say, you gotta follow what thus said the Lord.
I know. That's exactly right. It's not that. Okay, let me put it this way. When I started out to write How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a Good Wife, there was not a sequel or part two in mind when I wrote it. Now, if the Lord comes and says to me, hey, we need to have something written, or you need to have something written for the men. Have, or he speaks to Michael and say, hey, the Lord spoke to me and said that we need to have something about a God husband. Then of course, if God says so, then there will be one. But at this present moment, no. However, hi Sonia, how you doing? Thank you for joining. However, at this moment, Mr. April, you can write the book inspired by Mike.
Karen, we love the comments, but hey, keep them to yourself in reference to me.
Okay, how you doing? Thank you for joining. But but the thing about it is this: we know that God has spoken to us in reference to writing a book,
Yes.
and so it hasn't been anything in reference to how to be a God husband or God man or what have you. He hasn't given that to us, but He has given us a book together to share our coming together and what God has done in our life as a couple. He has put that on our hearts to do that.
In
So
reference to couples,
right,
the journey.
the journey exactly.
A
So
lot of people don't know how it is that we came about, and a lot of people assume that from the way in which we interact with each other that we've been married for 20, 30 years. Hey, Tiffany, and that is not the case.
Right.
Come July, it'll be 12 years, right?
Yes, it'll be 12 years. I'm so
But
glad you remember that.
I live here, and I love my wife, so. But yeah, a lot of people assume that the way in which we relate to each other, that we've been married for 20 or 30 years, and that is so far from the case.
Right.
But I feel like it's been a lifetime. It was a breath of fresh air when I met her, and she said yes. It just changed everything. So I'm grateful, and I thank God every day. I say my prayers in the morning. She's a part of that, and before I go to bed at night, I just thank God, because I know, and I've seen it for myself when I was working before I retired. A lot of people, a lot of guys are saying, they work overtime because they don't want to go home or they're not interested in going home. And if they do go home, they sit and ponder 20, 30 minutes in the driveway, or they make 2 or 3 blocks around the house because they're not happy. But yet they're committed to being in a situation. And I'm not committed to being in a situation. I'm committed to being in my marriage and putting forth my best effort and making my marriage happy. And I'm grateful, and I thank God for it every day. If the truth be told, I prayed for the situation that I'm retired to now, but I didn't expect it to happen like this because I hated every day walking out of the front door, leaving my wife at home. Even though I know as a man I have to provide, but He put me in a position now that I'm retired, actually twice. So did I see it happening this way? No, but I thank God for it, and I'm grateful. I tell a lot of people, even now with the pandemic and everything that's going on, you're seeing the domestic violence rate going up, and people, are having issues within their marriages because they're not used to being in the same space for long periods of time because they're like ships in the night passing each other. But me and April, we was doing the quarantine before quarantine became a thing. I mean, it was every day. We getting up and we spending that time. But if you put in that time with God and have Him be the center of your marriage, there is no reason that any issue that comes up, you shouldn't be able to resolve them and be able to speak to one another. And I just thank God, that He touched me when He did and allowed me to start to see my wife in a way in which I pray that He sees her. And that's what I pray for, because I want to be able to contribute to her, build her up, and not tear her down. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I thank God for the gift that He gave me. I often say I thank God for my faith, and that's what I have. When He allowed me to find April, and she said yes to me asking her to marry her. Yes. So, what's up, Dewey? Man, thank you, man. God has been truly blessed, and your life is a testimony in itself. And I thank God that you are here, and that you're able to type in the things that you're saying to me, man. I love you, dude, for real. Yeah.
Thank you, our beautiful couple. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you so much. You know, I am blessed in the fact of knowing that I have a husband that loves me the way that he does. And that's my prayer for many of the women that are out there. And so many women have come to me and said that they've gone through some things, whether it was at a conference. I had one lady come up to me and she really began to cry because, you know, she had a husband that didn't treat her the way that she felt like she should have been treated. And she was a woman of faith, and her heart was just really torn. And so I just want to encourage you out there that when you're faced with a situation and you're having to deal with your spouse. Hey, Candy, how you doing? Thank you for joining. And you have a situation with your spouse and it's not working out. Prayer, I'm telling you, prayer is the key. Seek God's face on what to do and how to handle that situation. You don't want it to be a place where, it's always combative all the time, and that's what you don't want in your relationship. But I'm just thankful. I'm really thankful for that. All right, what else do we have?
The next question is, oh, wait, this comes from a woman.
Oh, okay.
I have given up on finding the right guy. I have been hurt many times, and I have come to the conclusion that there aren't any good men left.
Oh, wow. Whew. Um, that's a heavy one. And I can relate to that in a sense of, when I got my divorce, I kind of came to that conclusion. So I thought that when it came to guys and men that they were just after one thing, or they weren't serious about being in a relationship. And I've seen other friends hurt by a man, and after a while you get a mindset of, okay, you know what, this is all that's left, so I'm just going to settle or accept the fact that no man is good. And that's not true. That's so far from the truth. There are good men that are out there, but I want to say this to you, and I don't want it to be taken the wrong way. It's all in how you carry and conduct yourself. Um, you have a tendency to draw to you the type of, if you say for instance you're surrounded. Say things, you like to go to the club and you like to hang out and different things like that. Well, when you're in the club and you're hanging out and dancing and everything or whatever, and the men that are there and they see that you're there, it's like, of course, you're going to attract that kind of man because you're out there in that setting. And if you know in your heart of hearts, that's not what you want. You want somebody that's on a solid foundation. You want someone that is God-like or Christ-like. You want to be certain that you conduct and carry yourself. And then, like I said a few minutes ago, don't go out looking for a man. Um, that's what you don't want. And so the thing about it is, when it comes to saying that you want a husband, a good husband, I've seen people say they believe in God for their husband, they believe in God for their man, but they go to work, they come home, and that's where they stay. They go to church, come home, that's where they stay. And it's like they're assuming that that man's gonna knock on the door and say, "Hey, here I am. Here's your husband. Here, I'm the man for you." No, you have to be in a place where, get out there. I know that we're in a pandemic right now, and so a lot of us are in home and not out quite a bit. But what were you doing before the pandemic came? Were you out there? Were you going to places like maybe well, some people have met their husband in the grocery store. I'm not saying that's what you go looking for. I'm just saying people have met that way. In other words, get out and about so that so you can be seen, so that that man that you believe in God for can see you. And I don't mean, when you go out there and he's seeing everything. And I've seen, some women say they believe in God for a man, and they've got everything out here exposed. And it's all in how you conduct and carry yourself. I'm not saying you got to dress up with everything up to your neck and skirts down to your ankles. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. But conduct yourself. I'll give you an example. Two incidences happened to me when I was working at the exchange. And so I was working one day, and this young man came in. Young man, he was like, I'll tell you in a minute. He asked me, he said, "Hi, how you doing?" I said, "Hi, how are you?" He said, "Fine." He said, "Well, I just want to know if I could take you out." And I stopped him right there. Okay. I said, first of all, how old are you? He told me he was 21. I said, well, let me say this to you. First of all, I'm married. Second of all, I have a son that's older than you are. And I said, third of all, do I look like the kind of woman that you can approach that way? His whole countenance changed. And he said, "Man," he said, "I am so sorry." He said, I just wanted to, ask you out, and I want to respect that you're married." I said, "Yeah," and I said, "If I were not," I said, "You're younger than my son." I said, that's just not me. That's not how I carry myself." But his whole countenance had changed. Then on the flip side of that, there I was walking down the hallway one day, and there was an older man that just came up to me. "Hey, how you?" I mean, the way he, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, "Hi, how are you?" And he was like, "Woo, you sure look good. Can I get your number?"
Hmm.
And I said, "Wait, stop." I said, "First of all, I'm married." And I said, "Do I look like I carry myself that way?" He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Will. How about I give you my number?" Everything I just said to that man went over his head. And he was an older man, old enough to know better. He was older than me, old enough to know better. Hi, Lauren. How you doing?
Yeah,
Thank you for watching.
And he wasn't there when I got over there, so I'm gonna just leave that right there.
I mean, you see, when you carry yourself a certain way, you're going to attract certain people. And so, I put it out there. Listen, do I carry myself that way that you can come to me like that way? So, yeah.
You would find a spouse when you're not looking.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Thank you. That's exactly right. You will find your spouse when you're not looking. I wasn't
Yeah.
looking for him. But I believe God for the list I had created. Hi, Monica. How you doing? That I had created. And I was believing God. In fact, he was in front of me the whole time, but I didn't recognize it right away.
Yeah, because we talked for a while.
Yeah.
We actually dated for a year and a half. But I had talked to you for like, what? You didn't say that until that December, right? So we had talked like 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
Before the light went off.
Okay. I'm gonna say this conversation for later. Y'all can't see this conversation, but anyway.
What? I said for the light went off, baby.
The light bulb went off.
Right.
And so I began to see that I knew that he was the one for me. But then he also said to me, which was very important, that's from a man's perspective, was very important. It's all in how you conduct and carry yourself.
Yeah.
And I wasn't out there trying to have, partying, trying to have a good time and all over the place.
Yeah, I've been grown since I was 15.
We're not going to talk about that either. Thank you for joining tonight, Monica. It's good to see you.
I've been growing a long time. I've been grown.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, hi, Renita, my sister from Mississippi. How are you?
Hey, tell my brother I said hello, Renita. Love you guys.
Yes, we do.
And Smurfette, I love you, girl.
Yeah, I love you too, baby. But it's a thing where you really want to just be mindful, and like I said, all is how you carry and conduct yourself. Okay. What's the next question?
Question number 5. It is so hard to talk to my husband without it leading to an argument. I am at the point where I do not like talking to him about anything. What is the best way to approach him if I have something to talk about?
Mm. Wow.
That's rough.
Yeah,
and that varies too from one relationship to the next. They have to know when is a perceived good time to approach their spouse, and they don't know what his day has entailed. So I mean, I hope you're not meeting him at the door as soon as he gets home from work. With the everyday toils that you're going through. Find that common space,
right,
to give each other time to release that stress of today, and then find that common place to be able to talk to each other.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of when are you talking to him. I mean, are you confront, talking to him, trying to talk to him as soon as he walks through the door? I talk about that in the book where, yeah, uh, patiently waiting. Oh, okay. You think about how, when he come home from work, is maybe not the best time to try to well, I'm not going to say confront, I'm not going to say that, to approach him with something and he may not be ready yet. I know when he was working, I would wait until he got home, and sometimes he's ready to talk, he's ready to vent. So I'm listening, and I know it's so easy for us to want to be able to solve everything because we're nurturers by nature, and so they may not always. Hi Nicole, how you doing? Thank you for joining. They may not always want us speaking. They just need a listening ear. So it just matters um, about what time frame you kind of monitor that and see, when is a good time to talk to him. And then if you know that he's easily upset, pray about it before you talk to him. Yeah, just have to be mindful and use your discernment. Use your discernment in that.
And don't be that. Hey, you can't get one question in, let alone a statement, because you're not even breathing between your sentences. That's a rough situation to deal with.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Demetrius says we must be cognizant of how we approach each other. Yes. Sometimes we go to them with the wrong attitude, and that is so important.
That's everything.
That's everything.
That's everything.
And so, if no one wants to be around somebody that's a snapping turtle all the time.
Yeah, negative either.
Or negative, have a negative attitude or spirit. No matter what you say, everything is negative, and that's one thing my husband and I talk about quite a bit. Is when someone has something to say, then the next thing is, oh well, this I can't see how they do that. And Lord have mercy. They say, oh, I told you. There have been conversations I've had with people, and I've asked them how they're doing, and they go down a whole list of everything that's wrong.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you've lost me at the second thing you said was wrong. How about just speaking positive, being positive? Holy Spirit will tell you what to say. You're right. Absolutely. Holy
Absolutely.
Spirit, yes, He will. Because there have been plenty of times, really, when we've had a conversation, and I want to say something so bad. But
what you want to say?
But the Holy Spirit will confound my tongue, and sometimes that's my prayer. Yeah. Lord, I know what I want to say, but please confound my tongue right now, because I'm ready to offend this man.
Oh Lord!
And I may say some things I can't take back.
Wow!
And I'm being transparent. And so my husband knows my temperament. He knows when I get flustered or a little upset, I get quiet. Yes. Because you know why I'm quiet? I'm praying. Because I'm saying, Lord, you know your daughter. Your daughter's ready to blast some stuff out. But in the name of Jesus,
holy Jesus,
confound my tongue.
Yes.
And make me that God wife that you called me to be.
You got to be an example.
Yes.
And look, can I say something in reference to that?
Yes, love.
When we have issues, and there's been times where we had heated disagreements. I'll put it like that because I don't argue with her. I rather leave before that point raises between us. But just as y'all see me now, laughing and cheesing, listening to her, or me making comments to her, that's who I am. That's my character. And she can't stay mad at me, and I can't stay mad at her because I love laughter. I love having a good time. So it's hard for us to find a situation that really just have us at each other. It's hard because in the midst of it, serious or not serious, I'll find the fun in it to change the mood of the conversation. And we can't stay mad because I got to be able to touch it. And I can't touch it if she's mad at me. And I'm definitely not sleeping on the couch. We don't play that. So we're gonna deal with this thing, we're gonna talk it out. And she blushing because she don't like to talk like that. But I'm just telling the truth. I am who I am. You can take me or leave me. It ain't gonna bother me because as long as she's standing beside me, I can care less. and that's how I feel. But we can't stay upset with each other. I won't let her. And I can't because I know my ultimate desire is to be up under. And you can call me henpeck or whatever.
Our daughter said, "Ooh."
Yeah, Lauren. Hey,
that's our baby. She said,
it's
"Ooh."
PG rated R right now, Lauren. Get off the live. But yes, I told you in the movie, the mini movie that we did in 2011.
Yeah.
This woman got my nose so wide open you could drive an 18 wheeler in it sideways, hit the Jake brake, and we coming in, baby. You hear me? That's how we roll every day. God has been good. There is no reason to hang your head and be at each other's throat. Yeah. Because when you look at what's going on in the world right now, the unrest, the pandemic, people are leaving here every day. And if you can't bless the atmosphere of the one that you in the house with, something is wrong with you. You need to look within yourself and ask God to move on your behalf, to straighten out that wickedness that's within inside you, to bring about the joy, because there should be a joy in your spirit every day that you bless to open your eyes. Yeah. Some people even count that and disregard that. Opening your eyes. You know, I don't have the mobility in my body the way that I used to. And for a minute, I was lost in somewhat of a depression. And I thank God that He moved my mind in that, because at one point I was thinking I was less than a man because I couldn't do the things around the house that I was doing before my medical incident took place. Yeah. But to know that God had blessed me with a woman that was not shallow, that saw me for me and knew my heart, I thank and I praise Him every day, because I could have been, just imagine if it wasn't her and I was with somebody that was materialistic or shallow. And then I go through my medical procedure and it leaving me, I don't call myself disabled. I call it's an unfortunate incident. And I'm just not able to do the things that I was able to do prior to. And that person left me. Now, if I'm already in a weak state in my own mind, thinking that I'm less than, and then you add to it the pressure by walking out on me because it was all about who you saw me as and not who I was, then I married the wrong thing. And then apparently I didn't pray and ask God for it. So every day is a good day, no matter whether the sun is shining or it's cloudy outside. I thank God for this woman. And I'm not just saying it because we're on the live. I say it when it's just us. He knows, she knows, and that's all that matters. But we share who we are with the world. And so if I could just give you a little moment in time of who we are, you know, praise and thank God for the mate that you have. And anything that you feel can be helped or aided, pray about it. Pray for them. Lay your hands on them while they sleep, and ask God to just touch them. Yes, I ask him to touch her all the time. And then when he touch her, I wait and then I touch. But that's who we are.
You know, and the thing about it is, you know, when you truly love someone and you're committed to them and to your relationship, the thing is, when something happened, when my husband wasn't able to do for himself at all, I'm his helpmeet. Yes. I'm his helpmeet. So why would I mistreat him? Why would I leave him in a situation like that? And it's never about materialistic things for me. My husband is very good to me, and so it's never been about that for me. I love him for the man that he is, the man that God created him to be, and the way that he treats me. I couldn't have asked for a better husband. I thank God for him every day. But to walk out on him because he's not able to do for himself, for months I had to do things for my husband. It was just me doing things for my husband, and so it was my not only my reasonable service, but it was the woman that God had created me to be, the God wife, and me to go ahead and take care of my husband because he couldn't do it for himself. So I couldn't even, there was never a thought in my mind to, like I said, to mistreat him or to walk out on him because he was the man that I married. Why? that's how you know that person is for you, and they're with you in the midst of everything that's going on, whether it's good, bad, or ugly.
Yes.
You're able to stand, and you're able to stand together. That's what's important, and so that's what it was for us. So if you find yourself in a situation where you have a husband that you can't talk to, or you have a wife that you can't talk to, pray and ask the Lord in reference to how should I handle this now? I want to make sure I go to them in the correct spirit and attitude, and that helps a lot. Irene says, "My husband said nothing wrong with a henpecked man
I know
if
that's
you
true.
have the right hand."
Hey, you better say it, Vince. That's my brother.
I know, Kino. Yeah, Vince. Her husband Vince is an amazing man. They're an amazing couple.
Awesome couple.
Awesome couple.
Out of Mississippi at Gulfport.
And so that is so right. I love that, Renita. He says nothing wrong with a henpecked man if you have the right hand.
I know that's the truth.
I love that.
I love it too.
Wow.
Any questions?
Someone said that's a Proverbs 31 woman. Amen.
That's
right.
That's
exactly right.
Yes, and I thank God for it.
You will find your spouse when you're not looking. Okay,
yes.
we read that one. That's good.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
So we've been reading questions that we've gotten, but if anyone else has a question or comment, please do. Also, if you're doing this, please like and share this session tonight as well. And then those of you that are watching from YouTube, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And also leave a comment. Please leave a comment.
And it's April S. Young on YouTube.
Yes.
And for anyone that have received either book, whether it's How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a Good Wife, Daughter of Thunder, The Calm After the Storm, if you received it, even if you received a signed copy, just go to Amazon and Barnes & Noble for us. Leave a review. Just leave a review on the books. And that would help her greatly. That would help us greatly.
Yes,
so just leave a review for us. And
thank you.
That's on either book.
Yes, thank you. What kind of boundaries protect your marriage?
Wow. Boundaries. I mean, that's such a broad question coming from a lawyer. Hey. What's going on? Why are you going to do us like that? Wow. He's back. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
We don't know what happened with that.
Facebook cut us off.
Yeah, they did.
For some odd reason.
Yes.
But the question was asked, what kind of boundaries do you set for your marriage? Like I said, that's a very broad question.
Yeah. So, how would you say that as far as boundaries are concerned?
Go ahead, baby.
Well, as far as boundaries, I know respect is one. Definitely respect. You have to have respect for one another. That's definitely a boundary. And then you also want it to be, hey, Lauren, sorry about that. We got disconnected some kind of way on Facebook.
Yeah, that was.
Respect is one of them. One of the boundaries we do set. You have to have respect for one another. Okay, video froze.
Yeah, because we got kicked off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got kicked off. But what do you think, huh?
Well, like I said, for me, that's a broad question because what boundaries are you referring to? You going to your girlfriend, getting advice about situations going on with us, or me running telling the homies situations going on.
Right.
I'm not having it because I'm not going to give nobody no inside scoop on how to move in on me.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, so that's another boundary. You set the tone of, when it comes to things going on in your relationship and in your marriage, you keep it with you. Yeah. And so you want to be mindful that whatever disagreement that you may have, whatever conversation you may have, that's between you and your spouse. I mean, going out and sharing things, that's definitely a boundary. You don't talk about personal things with your spouse, with other people outside of your marriage. And if you're having issues or having problems outside of counseling, you definitely don't want to go and then spread about what's going on with your relationship. So that's another boundary that you want to set.
Because you could be upset and say some things to family even, and then family draw draws issue with your significant other, and then later on down the line, y'all done made up, and the family's still holding odds against the person. So
Exactly.
you just have to be
Exactly.
mindful with the things that you take outside of your own four walls. That's how I look at it.
Right.
Because there's a lot of things, whether good or indifferent, that we could share, but we choose to keep it amongst ourselves. You
Right.
know, and it also goes with the children. There are some things that they shouldn't be privy to knowing. You know,
Right.
because like I said, that can cause discord between the family.
Exactly.
So it just depends on what boundary you're referring to.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, you definitely have to set boundaries though.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
And be committed, and then knowing that you always got to keep Christ in the center anyway.
yeah,
Always keep him as the center in your
yeah.
marriage. Okay.
And there's a writing that you want to share from your book.
Yeah. So the person that asked the question in reference to having it hard to talk to
Their
the
husband.
husband, I'm going to answer that from page 124 in the book, and that's hopefully that will be of some help for you.
On page 124 for those that have the book.
Yeah, 124. And it's the noteworthy. It says, even in the midst of the storm, God becomes the calm that settles the wind. And so, once again, God is definitely the source that you want to go to. Not your girlfriend, not your neighbor down the street, not your sister, brother, not mama, daddy. You want to go to God in reference to that and ask him how to approach your husband if he's difficult. And same thing with your wife, hard to have a conversation with. So that is, even in the midst of the storm, God becomes the calm that settles the wind. Okay, and that was on page 124, nowhere the 18 for that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean that every situation is totally different.
It is.
And like you said, you have to know your mate. And I mean, if you've been together long enough, you should understand whether it's she or he inside that moment where you can pick up their mannerisms.
Right.
And know when the best time to approach them on a subject, even if it's a hot topic.
Right.
Everything is in the approach, as well as the tone that is taken when you're discussing.
Exactly.
So if you just have respect across the board, and you said it once in one of your chapters, if you're able to take yourself and place you on the other side of you listening to you speak, how would you want to say it and know how to receive it? Right. You know what I'm saying?
And how would you feel?
Yeah, how would you feel
right.
if the opposing person was coming at you choppy and flustered, and how would you respond? So it's just all about the approach and knowing how to say things, because you can say pretty much anything, but it's the words that you choose and how you use it. Use them.
Exactly.
Tone is everything.
Yes, it is. And we've had conversations about that. Being able to understand it's not what you say, it's how you say it a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Yes, pray for the right timing, the right words, and to receive in the right way.
In the right way. That's so true, Kim.
That's too true, Kim.
Yeah, so
very true.
Yeah.
So you want to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell me about that time when I waited till you got in the bed to go get some water.
Oh,
I said it real nice. But I said it real nice.
Okay.
Yeah, share that story real quick.
That story comes out of the submission chapter in the book.
Yes.
And so there was a time when, I had got myself ready. You know how we do women. We get ourselves, move makeup, do our hair, whatever, before we get in the bed, brush our teeth, whatever. And so I had already got myself in the bed, and I had, gotten a comfortable place on my pillow. You know how you just get that right spot. And he was in the kitchen. So he comes out of the kitchen, comes into the bedroom.
Brush my teeth and everything.
Then he said, hey, honey, he said, babe, he said, can you go get me a glass of water? And I said, you want me to get out of bed? Go get you a glass of water. And he was like, yeah, just go get, I'm thirsty. Go get me some water. Now, in my mind, I was saying, now I know this man don't think that I'm gonna get up out of my bed, and he just came out of the kitchen a few minutes ago. He could have had some water before he came in there. I mean, I'm just thinking, I'm being human. I'm being. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna go get him some water. Now, was I smiling all chipper and everything when I was? No, I wasn't. But I didn't have an attitude. I just said, I'm gonna go get it. So I go into the kitchen, and when I go in there to go get a glass, right there on the counter was 2 boxes and 2 cards. And when I opened the boxes, there was 2 different watches he had gotten from me. He got 2 beautiful cards. And I was like, wow. His point was he really didn't want a glass of water. He wanted to be a blessing to me. And so because I had the right attitude without getting an attitude, I could have, but I chose not to. I was blessed in the process. And so when we are like that with God, God is saying to us, this is what I want you to do. And you're saying, well, God, I don't want to do it that way. Well, God, I don't feel like it. Then you could possibly miss out on a blessing that he has for you. And so I learned a valuable lesson that night. I could have missed out on a great deal. And I always tease him and say, well, I guess if I hadn't went and got that glass of water and I had an attitude, I guess you would have took the watches back. And he laughed and he says, no, I wouldn't have taken it back. He said, you just went down another time. You just wouldn't have got them that night. But, it's just a thought of having enough respect for your spouse to understand that there are going to be some things that you may not understand and maybe some things you may not like. But at the same time, you always have to have that level of respect at all times. At all times.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, the next question. What is your advice for a divorced woman with grown adult children that wants to be in a relationship? I have been divorced for over 18 years and dated a few times, but nothing that has lasted. I do not want to be alone for the rest of my life.
Mm. Wow. Let's see, we're going here. That's deep. And, I've been a single mom before. But I always knew in my heart of hearts that God had a mate for me. So I didn't have that dilemma, so to speak. And no, you definitely don't want to be alone or lonely. But the thing about it is, with Christ, you're never alone. And so allow him to be your husband right now. Allow him to be the one that's the head of your life. Allow him to be the one to speak into your life and guide you in the direction that you should go in. Because, hi, Daryl, thank you for joining. Allow him to speak into your life. Allow him to be the one that is your provider. Allow him to be the one that's going to love you like no other. And so as you pray and ask God for that mate, do, as I had suggested before, make that list out of what you desire in a husband. But also, like I said before, do not go looking for him. And because you have adult children and now that you're on your own and you've been divorced 18 years, doesn't mean that your life is over. This should be the best time in your life right now. You have an empty nest. And so God, if you believe in God for a husband or mate, truly believe that. Mm-hmm. And be specific in what you want. I had said here that let's see.
And before you do that, can I say this? Mm-hmm. It could be a thing also that there are some things that she may need to work on.
Right.
And as well as the guy that is seeking her, some things in him that are being ironed out and straightened out. And I know it's been time, but his time is not our time.
Right.
And our time is not his time.
Right.
So, I mean, there could be some things that are needing to be rectified in your own life because you draw in what you give out a lot of the time. Because she's saying it and she's dated a few times But at the same time, were you dating to say you was dating, or were you dating? Well, apparently you were just dating to say you was dating because those weren't the ones that he had for you. So 9 times out of 10, there's always a counterfeit before the action, because you're moving before he's telling you to move, and you're moving on it, or you starting a relationship, and that's how I view it from this perspective.
But sometimes we can be so caught up in being in a relationship that we lose sight of what our true purpose is and what we should be doing. And so every relationship is not a good relationship. Every relationship is not a God relationship. And so I want to put this out there to you. I mean, in those relationships where you've been intimate with these people, I mean, you want to keep that in mind too. And like I tell women all the time when I talk to them, you do not have to be intimate with a man. And if a man does not respect that or does not understand that, then he is definitely not the one for you. And so, that was important for me when it came to my husband. He understood that from day one. That was not what I wanted, Michelle. And so it was not what I wanted for my life. I wanted to wait. And so sometimes you get so caught up in being in a relationship, having someone because you don't want to be lonely or you don't want to be lonesome or by yourself, that you're willing to accept or settle things in that way. And by no means do you have to obligate yourself to someone intimately in a relationship. You don't have to do that. And so, there are people who are willing to wait until they're married, especially if that's the direction you want to go in. Be willing to wait. And I promise you, a man that's worthy and a man that carries himself with respect will respect and understand that. And so I know there's a lot of sisters out there and a lot of brothers out there say they got to try and test drive before they. Listen, that's a bunch of crap. And like I mentioned to you a few weeks ago, why buy the whole cow when you can get the milk for free? If that man knows if that man knows that he can get the milk for free, he's not going to try to invest in you as a wife or look at you as a wife.
Yeah.
And there have been some instances where, yeah, people have gotten married, but think about if you hadn't been intimate before marriage. How different would your marriage or your relationship be?
And did they marry you out of obligation or caught up in their emotions?
Right.
So you have to weigh all of that.
Mm-hmm.
All that goes into play.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are in relationships out of obligation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what you don't want.
Yep.
So, I say this to you, God bless you. I understand being a single mom. I also understand having grown adult children. So your life is not over. If anything, you should be living the best of your life right now. But just know that you have greater things ahead for you. Latoya, how you doing? Thank you for joining tonight. Okay, for my Instagram family, I'm going to be leaving you at this moment. But I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I want to say God bless you. You have been a major part of why I do what I do. And I thank you so much. Again, if you have watched the video live, please share it. Please like and share. And also, if you haven't gotten How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a Good Wife, please purchase the book. It is available on all digital outlets. And also, my newest release, Daughter Thunder, The Calm After the Storm. Yes. And that is also on all digital outlets. And also inbox me as well if you would like to have a signed copy. And I will make sure that gets to you, okay? Thank you so much. God bless you all. You all have a wonderful night. Thank you, Instagram family. Love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Next Sunday, 6:30 p.m. sharp. Thank you, and be blessed. God bless you. Okay. Back to my Facebook family. Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn, for joining tonight. God bless you. So, yeah, that's important. So, your life isn't over because you are a divorced woman and you've been maybe divorced many years. There is hope. There is better things ahead for you. And so, if you want that special man in your life, Talk to God. Allow Him to be your husband first. Allow Him to provide for you and to speak into your life and to guide you in the right direction. Okay? All right. Any other questions or comments? Please feel free to make the comments down. And also, if you are viewing me from YouTube, please go to my YouTube channel, April S. Young. Hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell for notifications. And please leave a comment. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So, are there any other comments or questions? I think I have. Did I have any more questions?
Yeah, we got one more.
Okay. So, thank you all. Oh, love you too, Latoya. Thank you.
The last, did you read?
I did.
Okay. It says, how long should a couple date before getting engaged?
Oh, I did not read 120. I'm sorry. Excuse me, y'all. I forgot to read that. For the question for the lady that has been single for 18 years, divorced for 18 years. Life is what you make it. Whatever you speak into your existence will be the evidence of what you have believed. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And so you have to, thank you for joining us again, Regina. Thank you. Believe God. Give it to the Father and allow Him to speak to you in reference to what He would have you to do. And if you believe in God for that man of God, then just take it to prayer and believe Him for it. Okay? All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead and read the next question.
All right. It says, how long should a couple date before getting engaged?
That is a good question. And I will say again, as we said earlier, that depends on the couple and the situation that they're in. Some people may date for 6 months and say, okay, we're ready, especially if they're a particular age. Some may say it may give me a year to get to really know this person, and then we can talk about getting engaged or get married. There have been some couples that have been a little bit longer than that, but I will say this. Hi, Dexter. Thank you for joining tonight. I will say this. When you're talking about 3, 4, 5, 6, Pastor Felton Hawkins, thank you for joining tonight. God bless you. When you're talking about 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 years, and you're talking about, okay, we're gonna get married, we're gonna get married, we're gonna get married, we're gonna get married, and they're saying all this time. Think about the time that you are investing in that relationship.
And how much milk you done gave up.
Thank you. You just want to be so mindful.
Especially if you living right.
Right. You want to be mindful of that. And so that person, each of you should value one another enough to discuss it. And if one of you don't want to get married, then by all means, let that person know. Never get to a point where you're stringing somebody along. I've seen people been engaged for 15, 20 years. Why? And then when you get to a certain age, you should know what it is that you want. You should know what you want. Again, this was a second marriage for both of us, and we both came out of marriages that were just not. The marriage didn't end well.
Right.
And so when we met each other, we had certain expectations, and we knew what we didn't want, and we knew what we also wanted in a relationship, and we knew that we were supposed to be married, and so we made that decision. And so you don't want to be in a place where you're just in a relationship
for the sake of being in a relationship.
Just for the sake of being in a relationship. That's what you definitely do not want that. And so here on page 109 in the book, and it says here, when a man or woman, they continue to make excuses for marrying you. For example, if he or she says, let's hold off until my finances are in order. I want to be able to build financial stability, and marriage is not an option right now. And they've been telling you marriage is not an option right now for 20 years. At some point, you should understand and realize that marriage is not for them. That's not where they want to go.
Or you may not just be the one.
Right, exactly. And I have seen that situation where a man was in a relationship with a young lady for several years, and she wanted to get married. And he was like, I don't want to get married. But He met someone else after her and married her 6 months later. But he was in a relationship with this other young lady for years. Never married her. And so there's a case where you just may not be the one.
Yeah. And be able to understand it and have discernment.
Yeah.
To not even find yourself in that position and get out of this whole, whether man or woman, get out of this whole idea that I got to have somebody.
Yeah.
Because the somebody you got may not be nobody.
Exactly. And so the thing about it is it may not be the best thing for you and
Sure.
then be in a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And so someone just said, right, oh, Renita, Sister Rita. Uh-huh. Oh, okay, yeah. Hold on one second, guys. It's not doing it. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Sister Rita says, Amen. We're married within 6 months and we are celebrating 19 years, November 24th. Hallelujah. But that's not for everyone, and you're right. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Every situation is different. You have to know your situation and circumstance. That's a blessing, Sister Renita. You know, some people within 6 months do get married. Some people in less time than that because you already know without a shadow of a doubt that's the person you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with. Right. But it's not like that for every situation. Okay, yeah. So
you're right too, Dexter. We're trying our best to talk about it. We're trying to talk about it.
Yes. And sometimes being financially stable, sometimes that may take years. So you're willing to take years. You can do that together.
Yeah, because I had a friend that I talked to a couple of years back that was telling me, you know, just talking to man, and you know, just his fears for not wanting to get married yet because he was trying to get himself together and build a foundation for him and his expecting wife. And I told him, I said, you know, that's a situation that I honestly, every situation like that is different. If you all are talking and having conversations over this issue, as far as the finances being, you know, at a point to where going into the marriage, feeling you're not going to ever be in a place where it's totally secure because life can happen tomorrow. Yeah. One of you could be health stricken today, tomorrow, whatever, right. And there's still not enough money in the world to take care of that. Right. So you can't always use that as a crutch because if you guys pray about it and you know this is the person that you want in your life or God has spoken to you on this matter, then step out on faith. That's a part of it, believing that it is not my finances that provide for us anyway. It is God. Right. So if we look to God to be the provider, step out on faith and know that, hey, we're in this together. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And if the woman is on the same level or same headspace, when I say that, because as a man, we want to provide. You know, that's in any man. You know, you don't want to be in a situation where you're not providing for your family. You're sitting your butt at the house on the video game all day when you could be out on the side of the road picking up cans. I mean, because that's what I'm going to do for mine. No matter where I find myself, there's always something I can do. Whether I got to go out here and get a lawnmower and be a one-man service, cutting somebody's grass or raking their leaves or what. I was raised that way, you know, and I just don't get it. But don't use that. I'm just speaking to my brothers. Don't use not being at a financial state in your life to not marry that woman that you know God has placed before you. Because all you're doing is you're hindering your blessing. Right. That's how I view that. You're hindering your blessing. And that's all I'm gonna say. So yeah. I ain't going for a tangent. No. Don't use finances as a reason not to marry that woman God has placed in your life. Right. That's
and another thing too, if he tells you, well, how about we live together? So because I want to find a new marriage material. Don't fall for that. This is not the best indicator. When a man has found a wife in you, he is ready to commit to you for a lifetime. You're not playing games, especially when you are of a certain age. You're not playing games. And especially when we know, and I tell people all the time, tomorrow's not promised to any of us. And so it's taking it hard
Yeah,
Uh,
pray.
okay. So let me see. Dexter says it's hard sometimes, Pop, because in today's society, the way my generation women operate, they see finances as the
So decide.
sole decider. Listen,
Okay.
he
That,
he
that
just talked about this.
I just talked about that. And and trust me, y'all, don't hear what I'm not saying because it works on both sides. I'm gonna say it like this: it works on both sides.
Yeah.
Some people can be so headstrong that you miss out on the blessing that God has placed in front of you. And I say that to say that you can be so materialistic in making your in making your list. He'll give you everything that you ask for, but that's when you have to come as a combining body. And if that woman is mature or that man is mature, you can talk your way through, especially if you got a foundation to walk in the beginning.
Right.
It's one thing to okay, if she's attracted to you, there was something that caught her eye with you. Whether it was, and I'm not talking about the physical, because a lot of people get caught up in a relationship because of the physical. I'm talking about your character, your integrity. It all speaks for you. So if this man is out here busting his hind part to have something in life, and you busting your hind parts to have something in life, although the finances may not be in both areas, on her part and his part, may not be exactly where that individual wants them. But if y'all have a common goal to be a union, we can build on what we both bring to the table. But I can't build if you ain't bringing me nothing.
Right.
So that's how I look at it like that, bro. And I know there's so many independent women out here. There's so many independent men. But I'm saying that independent woman that has been doing for herself, and I don't need no man to do it for me. I can do it on my own. The devil is a lie because you can't create without me. And so therefore, if you humble yourself, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There is a man that is out there for you, and you get it so mistaken that every time he got to come through the door with a wad of money in his pocket.
Yeah.
And what are you bringing to the table besides your fake eyelashes and your bought wig? It's yours, but at the same time, when I undress you, what am I really? What am I really gonna? What am I really looking at?
Right.
It, I mean, so it's that's a touchy subject, and you know what I'm saying? Oh,
And I'm going to say this. I'm speaking to the women right now. I have heard women with my own ears
yeah.
say that they're looking for a doctor, they're looking for a lawyer,
Well, what do you do?
they're looking for a white collar man that's going to take care of them, put them in a big house,
White
they,
picket fence.
a white picket fence, and they're going to drive a certain kind of car. That's the kind of man they're looking for. And I promise you, the same women that have said that, and I've heard them say it, are still by themselves
Right to this day.
to this day. They don't have that man that they, because their priorities and their mindset is in the wrong place. And there was a couple of them that had blue collar men that wanted to marry them, that were good men, but they didn't want that because they were looking at the fact of they wanted a doctor, they wanted a lawyer, they wanted somebody that was bringing in the money, making six. He couldn't make anything less than six figures, and that is totally wrong. That is when you say, okay, they're looking at it from a shallow perspective,
Yeah.
and not from a God or a reasonable perspective. And because someone happens to be a blue collar worker, that doesn't make them a bad person. That could be the best person that you've ever met in your life that God had right in front of you. But because you had your nose stuck up in the air and you wanted that six-figured man, and you wanted to drive a certain kind of car, live in a certain kind of house, you were still by yourself. And I'm not trying to knock you down. I'm not trying to do that. But I want you to understand and realize. Think about the men that you turned away, that wanted to marry you, that was willing to give you whatever your heart's desire, the best way he knew how to do it for you.
And they had pure motive.
And they had pure motive. They weren't trying to take anything from you.
Yeah.
But yet, you weren't bringing anything to the table. You were sitting at the table waiting for him to bring you a whole buffet. But what are you bringing to the table?
And I'm gonna be honest, because there's grown folks on here, and laying you down and you offering of yourself ain't enough to bring to the table to tempt me. You got to bring more than that, and you want 6 figures, but you ain't making 2.
Angela, hi, darling.
So
How you doing?
that's a touchy situation for me because I've seen it, I've been around it, so it bothers me.
Yeah, and
It
and I
bothers me.
can't I can't understand for the life of me. And these are the same women that are independent women on one side, and then on the other side, they waiting for Prince Charming, the doctor, the lawyer, the white collar man to come into their life, and it's like, what are you bringing to the table? And then your attitude is so ornery that if he were a doctor or an attorney, would he really
Be interested.
be interested in you? And then most of them are looking for someone to bring something to the table as well. And so think about that when you're making out that list and you're setting all these high standards for yourself, and you're saying what you want and what you don't want in a man, and yet you want someone, but you're still by yourself.
Yeah.
I've seen too many women pass good men up and by, and those same good men are now married
And have
and happy
the loving family.
with loving families, and that's what you could have had.
And my mom is watching from YouTube, and she told us to.
Oh, tell her to take that time to form an intimate relationship with God so that when she meet her mate, she will know how to be a God wife. Yes, thank you. That's right, Mom. That's exactly right. Take your time. It's no rush. It is no hurry. It is no hurry. And the people, oh my time clock is ticking and this, that, and the other. Listen, God may not have a man for you till you turn 40 or 45.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you put him first. Make him the lover of your soul. Make him the one that is your provider. You have to put your perspective in such a different way. And when I tell women and people look at me, I had someone tell me one time they want to test drive the car before they get it. I didn't. Now, if I had said that to my husband, I want to test drive before we get married, he probably would have ran.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
ain't
because
got time.
that's
Because that's not what I prayed for.
that's not what he prayed for, and that's not what I prayed for.
I did not want a connection out of obligation or being caught up in my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be pure at heart.
Yeah.
And that's why I prayed and I asked God to send me someone that's chasing after your own heart.
That's right.
I did not want a woman in the street. And I got to tell her all the time. And that's the thing for me. I ain't Denzel. I ain't Babyface. I'm just me. And I thank God for him putting it in her eyes to look at me and find me.
Yeah.
And I'm fine, and me finding her. I did not want a woman in the world because I had lived that life prior to meeting her. And every relationship you find yourself in when you're not making God the center, it is simply out of obligation. I'm going to stay with her because I know it's something I can benefit from, or I'm going to stay in this situation because my emotions and my feelings are caught up. So if that's what you're seeking, and that's the type of relationship you're finding yourself in, just to be in a relationship, to be in a relationship, then you traveling the wrong road anyway. And that's a road of destruction because you're only destroying yourself. You got to find respect for yourself. And when you find that, you're not going to settle for anything less than what God has for you. God's best for you. Yeah. Anybody can go out here and lay down with anybody. I'm just being frank. This is grown folks talking. Yeah. Anybody can go out here and lay down with anybody. But if you fall on your knees and pray and ask God for that mate, best believe that mate is already formed. That mate is being worked on. I mean, when I say worked on, there's things that he's fixing in himself. So when he finds you, that you will know without a shadow of a doubt, that's what God sent me. That's God's best for me. But when you're settling for Mr. Right Now, that in itself speaks volume about who you are. Right. Because if you can settle for Mr. Right Now, and not put yourself before God and allow God to be your mate and have that intimate time with Him, then you yourself is walking down the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not right with yourself. You're not even in right standing with yourself, let alone Him. So you have to find yourself in right standing with God and right standing with yourself. Integrity is everything.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is.
Integrity is everything. And that's doing it when nobody's looking, including yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I say women all the time, and it saddens me when I see women that settle because they're caught up in such a place where because I got a man, I got someone in my life. Hey Tony, how you doing? Uncle Tony, how you doing?
Man, I'm so glad.
I see young now.
Done recovered from the COVID.
Yes,
I
yes.
thank God for you, man. I love you, dude.
Yes, we love you.
I love you, man.
Yes. But you know the thing about it is, I didn't want to have somebody for the sake of saying I have somebody. And then you got these revenge relationships. You get a relationship because rebound relationships because you're trying to get back at somebody else and let them know I can get somebody too. Big mistake. Take your time. Take your time when it comes to having that man in your life. And when you're single and somebody asks you, when you gonna get married? When God says I'm gonna get married, why are you concerned about when I'm gonna get married? Or when you get married, people ask, when are you gonna have a baby? People need to stop asking that question. Because it could be a thing where the couple may already know they can't have children. And so every time you're saying that,
you're cutting at a wound.
You're cutting at a wound.
Or pulling the Band-Aid off of it anyway.
So, you have to be mindful of the things that you say and that you ask someone. And so, out of sheer nosiness, when we want you to know, hey, we're engaged, we'll tell you. When we want you to know if we're going to have a baby, we'll tell you. I mean, we passed that point by now. We got grandchildren now, but I'm just saying.
What God
well, that's true too because He did it for Abraham and Sarah.
Okay, right.
All right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I think I opened a can of worms. But at any rate, you want to be mindful of that. So just know that you're being confident in who you are. And I always tell women, a man does not complete you.
And a woman does not complete you, man.
That's it. You should be two complete people coming together.
Yes.
Not waiting for somebody, I need somebody to complete me.
Yeah. And none of that 60-40, talking about 70-30, talking about 80-20, talking about a 50-50 love. None of that Teddy P, because you got to be 100 and 100.
Yeah.
99 and a half won't do. They said it in the song in the church. 99 and a half won't do. You got to be 100.
That's right.
You got to dig within yourself, pray and ask God to show me in the eyes through your eyes, so that I can correct and complete those things and my purpose in my life. So then, therefore, when I meet that person that you placed in my life, that I can go into this and we build on a foundation of us being true to each other.
Absolutely.
But true to ourselves first.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to end up with no phony joker at the altar. He might leave. He might not show up.
Exactly. And so, thank you. That's right. You compliment. That's right, Carl. Thank you so much.
That's right, Tony.
That's exactly right.
Hey, Tony, I pulled off 3 of my zucchinis off my plants, man.
Oh, they're talking about the gardens. Yeah. But, I thank God. And it's another thing, too, when you are blended relationships, blended families. That's important as well. You have to be able to talk about the fact that one of you or both of you have children coming into the marriage, how that's going to work. That's another reason why premarital counseling is important.
Yeah.
Because, you have to have not so much the approval of the kids per se.
But you would like it.
You would like to know that, you all can come together as one and as a family. Yeah. And so that's not always easy. And I said that for the young lady that said she had grown children too, that you want to be mindful as well that everybody is in agreement with the coming together. So, but I think that's really important that you understand who and whose you are in Christ
Yes.
before getting into a relationship with somebody else. That's really, really important. And so you want to make sure he mentioned Mr. Right Now. Mr. Right Now, and I said it in my book, How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a Good Wife, is clueless about who you really are,
Mm-hmm.
and you're clueless about who he really is. He's just a body just there because you're saying, I have somebody in my life. Don't settle.
Yeah. It could be misrepresentation.
Settling is not an option.
Because we always, just like our resume, we always send a representative to represent us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Is that truly who you believe them to be?
Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's always important. Love yourself enough to know that, yes, you are lovable, but you don't have to settle for just any and everything that comes at you. You don't have to. And I could have settled, but I thank God I didn't.
I thank God too, baby, that you just settled. That you settled right here. I thank God.
Amen.
Settling is not an option.
That's right.
And that's the truth.
That's right. Yeah, it's not an option. You don't have to do that. Respect and love yourself enough.
Yeah.
Love yourself enough to know that. And what saddens me also is when I see these young girls, beautiful young girls, and it's not about the outer appearance, but when you have the beauty on the outside, but your self-esteem is so low.
Yes.
That you accept any kind of guy that comes to you. He doesn't respect you. He is, running around with other girls on you and different things. And these girls think that that's what their life is supposed to be like. Why? Because they grew up with it. They see it. They think that is the norm. Well, there is a norm. There's a new norm. And the new norm is you don't have to settle. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Love yourself enough to know that there's better for you.
Yeah. They're in situations like that, they're a product of their surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
So when you grow up seeing that,
exactly,
that's all your life has been about experiencing or seeing that as an experience.
Right.
Then you don't know better. But when you know better, you do better.
Right.
So,
exactly right.
A lot of times in situations like that, you can't necessarily fault them because they haven't even found themselves.
Right.
They're lost when they're out there like that.
That is so true. That is so true. Yeah. So
that was the last question.
That was it. I pray that I like I said at the beginning, I wanted to answer the questions the best of my ability and to our ability.
Yes.
And so I want to thank you for helping me ask the questions and your input. And as you said before, I wanted to piggyback on something that you said a few minutes ago. When I get, when I don't agree with something, or he may get me upset because every so often we may have like a disagreement, but we never say manage each other long, and that's true. And I can't, and I'm gonna tell you why I can't. Because God just made this man a comedian, and so it might be a holy hush, but then he'll say something that is so crazy and ridiculously funny that I end up laughing, and it's like, okay. And so we're able to talk about some things after. But he knows how to keep a smile on my face. When Apostle Tui prophesied many years ago and said that I see laughter in your life and you will love again, he spoke it directly, and I received it when he said it. And this is this man. He makes me laugh every single day. He's always doing something. My mother
coming in 100
calls him Dennis the Menace.
Yes.
And so she knows that he's always up to something. He's always got something to say. And then they have a relationship where they're going at it all the time. But he loves my mother. He loves her dearly, and so she loves him. And so they have that kind of rapport with one another. Wow, that was God. Yeah. Yes. So you can find happiness with the one that God has for you. It can happen for you. I encourage you to just seek God's face, because you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong seeking His face. And he knows you better than anyone. He knows what the desires of your heart is. And so, with that being said, trust Him. And in trusting God, trust the process.
Yes.
Because sometimes we have to go through a pruning process, a self pruning process. Sometimes we have to shave off some things that God wants to be able to do within us. And so, right now, I'm about to shave some stuff off this man right here because there's no stopping to him. But I just want to encourage you, those of you that listen and tune in tonight, be encouraged. Be encouraged. A lot of you are married that are tuning in tonight. Love your spouse, respect your spouse, and when it's time to give them their space. When it's time to talk things out in love. But always have respect there and always keep God as your center.
Yes.
To see God's face, not 90-day fiance on speed date. Amen.
But you still can seek him in that 90-day fiance. That's 3 months,
That's 3 months. That's exactly
I mean,
right.
I'm just saying because I fell in love with this woman when I laid eyes on her, and I was chasing her from day one.
You hear what he said? He was chasing me. I wasn't chasing him.
No, it took her 4 months to even let me get her phone number.
Yes, and definitely. So yeah, I mean, because you have to trust the process. And then when I was getting out of a relationship where it was a hurtful relationship and through a divorce, of course I'm gonna take my time. I'm not gonna rush into anything.
Right.
Again, for the sake of saying I have somebody. That wasn't gonna work for me.
Yeah. Well, that was the same
Love
thing
and
for
respect.
both.
Yeah.
Yes, love and respect.
Love and respect.
That is so right, Benita.
And it was important for me because he's a family man. That was one of the things that was on my list.
Yeah.
Someone that loves his mother. And this man
I love my mom.
He loves his mama.
That's my sunshine.
And I love his mama too. I love her.
That's
I love her. I
mama.
love her. I got the best mother in love anybody could ask for. I couldn't have asked for a better mother in love. And so with that being said, he is her only son.
Yes.
And he has sisters. So think about that. Coming into a situation like that. He's the only boy. And he has sisters.
I was a man now.
So, that's a lot. And then me thinking because I have children, I'm coming to this relationship and I have to meet his sisters. I have to meet, his mom and family like that.
And my granddad and my grandma.
And oh yeah,
Big mom, big daddy.
Exactly. And man, can he cook? Yes, Lord.
Oh, thanks. Oh yeah.
Yes, Lord.
I do a little something, you know what I'm saying?
He does.
I do a little something.
And that was one of the things we talked about because
yes.
I love to cook. He loves to cook. And so that was a commonality that we had that got us together. It wasn't sex.
Nope.
It wasn't lustful discussion. It wasn't none of that craziness.
No.
We talked about family and we talked about the love of cooking. And so we both love to do that. So
I couldn't even approach her like that because it wasn't in my heart.
Yeah.
Like I said, I prayed for her, and I couldn't even look at her like that. Was she beautiful and attractive to me? Yes. But I never once uttered a word sideways, trying to get at her.
He didn't.
Or get in her.
That's how I knew he was the one for me. Because, see, God knew the desires of my heart. And so for him to be the way that he was with me, spoke volumes to me.
I had a lot of respect for her. I see Michelle say she's
still waiting on a cake. Yeah.
I got you. What kind, Michelle? What kind? Just tell me.
Yeah. So it's an amazing thing when two people can come together as one.
Yes.
And the communication is there, the love and respect. I cannot say that enough. The respect.
Golly, they keep cutting us off on something. I think it's because your phone is so full. Your phone got all this stuff on it.
Okay, we'll take it off. Okay, we're back, y'all.
It's
Sorry
the
about
last
that.
time you gotta wait because ain't nobody up there.
Yeah. So.
But wow. Man.
So there's gonna be 3 different ones.
3 different ones because we done went through. We keep Facebook cutting us off. Y'all need Jesus in your life, so I don't know why you keep cutting it off. That's what's wrong with the world today.
Yeah.
Y'all need to get on y'all knees and pray.
Absolutely.
You're cutting us off for what?
Yeah.
We trying to help.
Yeah. Amen. We're not gonna be informed that long though.
Yeah, running all these ads for all this stuff that don't mean a hill of beans to nobody, and eavesdropping in on people's phone all the time.
All the time. All
Yeah.
the time. Thank you for coming back, Tony.
Yeah,
Thank you
we're
so
gonna
much.
make this quick because this is the second time they done cut us
They done
off.
cut
Tony.
us off.
They need healing in the land, and we trying to help people, and they cutting us off. Then putting ads and stuff on your phone that don't mean a hill of beans to nobody. You need to pray.
Yeah, absolutely. But you were saying something, honey.
Yeah. No, I was telling Michelle about the cake. Just let me know.
Yeah.
And but thanks for coming back, Tony. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go and wrap it up because it has been, it's already 8 o'clock.
Oh
right?
yeah, it sure
That's
is.
why.
Absolutely.
We started at 6:30.
Yeah, we did.
So, but it's just easy to get caught up and get started when it comes to just trying to be a blessing to people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We're not the best. We don't have all the answers, but a lot of people ask us different things because, like I said before, a lot of people assume that we've been married 20, 30 years just on how we carry ourselves and interact with each other. But like I said, it'll be 12 years come July.
Absolutely.
But God has been good, and He's blessed us within it.
Exactly.
Thanks for coming back, Maurice. We got cut off,
yeah, we did.
and we're not gonna make it long. So
yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because we've been up here for a while. We've enjoyed talking with you guys so much. Oh, Mr. Price,
Mr.
how
Price.
are you doing?
Good to see you, sir.
Oh,
blessings to you and your wife.
Yes.
Yes.
Who just had
the
birthday? Irma.
Yes. They just both celebrated birthdays.
God bless you both.
Yeah.
But we are, and this is a couple of longevity guys.
Yes,
Been married for a long time.
Another.
Known each other since they were little.
Yeah, second grade, I think, if I read it right, or was it kindergarten?
I don't know. I think it was second grade.
I think it was second grade. I read the post.
Yeah.
And I thank God for y'all.
That's
y'all are
amazing.
loving example.
That's amazing.
A loving example.
Loving example of a couple that's been married so long, and the cutest couple.
Yes.
The cutest couple.
And can cook too.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Miss you guys. Love you guys as well. Miss Irma, tell her, give her our love.
Yeah.
And
been a blessing.
I think that's a sweet
to many.
Yeah.
Been a blessing to many.
I think that's a sweet testimony. We've known each other since second grade, and then been married.
Second grade. Yeah.
Been married for all those years. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're not gonna be before you guys long. We've already been cut off twice.
So we're not gonna get a third time.
But we've enjoyed talking to you guys so much, and thank you those of you that presented the questions to us. God bless you for that.
Yeah.
And if you watched the sessions tonight, please like and share. Share.
Yeah.
And so, hey, Sandra, how you doing?
Man.
God bless you. Good to see you.
Grandbaby getting so big. Hope you have a wonderful week and stay strong.
Oh,
always.
man.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you
and you guys are a blessed couple too, man. I love what y'all do and how you see after your kids, man, your children, man. Both of the boys growing up. I love your wife. I love y'all's spirit. I'm always grateful for all the information and the knowledge that you give me, man. It gave to me freely. It never went unnoticed. Trust me. I appreciate you in so many ways, man. Thank God for you and your wife, man.
Thank you so
for
much.
your support always, because you supported her on her first book, How to Be a God Wife, not just a good wife.
Yes, you did. You did. Thank you so much for that.
And I thank you for that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
thank you, Sandra.
Tell my brother Jack, we say hello.
I see y'all in that pool, man. I can't wait till this pandemic goes because I'm ready to splash.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, God has been good.
Yeah.
And also, for those of you all that have bought April's book, whether it was from her or online, could y'all please just go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or both and just leave a review? That would help her out so much.
Yes,
just leave a review on God Wife, How to Be a God Wife, not just a good wife, and her latest release, The Daughter of Thunder, The Calm After the Storm. Leave a review for her because that will help her out so much. And any of you guys that would like a signed copy, just inbox her.
Yes.
And, she'll give you the details on how to get that. I don't mind going to the post office. I love the post office.
They know him
You
on
know,
first name
they
basis.
know me on first name basis because people are ordering the book.
Yes.
So if you don't have a copy and you would like a signed copy, a personal signed copy, inbox her. She'll be more than willing to tell you how you can do that.
Yes.
And she don't have a problem signing it either.
No,
And she
no.
has great penmanship.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
Oh, boo. Yes.
But thank you. And for those of you that have been watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
And hit the notification bell so you get notifications when I'm on, okay?
And those of you that have YouTube channels, go and subscribe to her page. And through you subscribing to her page, we will then, in turn, subscribe to yours. The only way we can lift each other up is by doing it within.
Yes.
And by word of mouth. Her YouTube page is April S. Young. Go like, subscribe,
Yes.
and share some of the videos. She have videos there. And
Yes.
so we would greatly appreciate that as well.
Yes, thank you so much. I am so appreciative. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your prayers. I've been working on another project with another young lady who has been a blessing in my life.
Yes.
And then we have our book that we're going to be working on as well. And so just keep us lifted up in prayer as we do what it is that God has inspired us to do in reference to being a blessing, blessing to others. Yeah. And so we want to say God bless you. We want to say we love you. And thank you so much. We've had a good time. I had a good time tonight.
I had a good time too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was this late either, so I can understand YouTube, Facebook kicking us off, but it better not do it again.
So we have enjoyed you guys tonight. So thank you all again. We want to say good night to our YouTube family
as well.
Yes. And thank you for your support. And my new subscribers, thank you so much. And then my subscribers that I have also, my new followers, on Instagram. Thank you all. God bless you. And so I love you all. And remember, I'll be here again next week, 6:30 p.m. sharp, and 5:30 p.m. sharp Central Standard Time.
Yes.
So don't forget that.
But I may not be here with her. I was just in today to read questions. And anyone can submit questions to her.
Yes.
Just inbox her or messenger.
Yes, the questions, because that's how I'm able to get the questions and go over them with you all, especially if it's something that
you don't want to share in the live feed.
Right, in the live feed, exactly. And this is what happened with these questions. They weren't shared. They wanted to be shared in the live feed, so I was able to read them out. Yeah. So anyway, but thank you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. You all have a blessed evening and enjoy your week. God bless you. Good night.
Good night. Nice to put my hand upon.
Thank you, YouTube family, for joining in tonight. God bless you. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Good night.
Whew.